Hello class, today I'm going to talk to you about feudalism and the medieval West. So what is feudalism and how does it apply to what was largely a part of the medieval times up into the Renaissance, which is mostly a part of the 9th through 15th centuries? An easy way to think about feudalism is just one big pyramid scheme, trickling up from peasants to knights to nobles until you get to kings. Normally, feudalism took place in a stretch of land called a manor. As a lord, having peasants or serfs who lived on your manor were your primary means of production. Nearly 98.5% of people living on plantations and manors in feudal Europe were people of serfdom. This means that the 1.5% who were kings or lords or nobles or even knights took part in the benefits of these people's work without actually participating in any of it. And say you were a serf or a peasant on one of these plantations or manors. Your king, or lord in most circumstances, really didn't have any consideration for you or your family. No, in fact, really, a life of a serf could be easily associated with slave labor, as there really wasn't anywhere else in medieval Europe to go. So I know what you're probably thinking at this point. Wow, feudalism really sucks. One could ask themselves, how could something that was so terrible for 98.5% of the population have lasted from England to Europe for almost 1,000 years? The answer, while extremely disappointing, isn't all that complicated. You see, in feudal Europe, there were no grassroots good old boys who could just start up a new business whenever they please. The contemporary legacy of a rags to riches story was something that was never thought of in medieval Europe. In fact, most of the time, it was just, well, rags to rags. Because the noble elite gained so much of their power through inheritance, most of the time serfs didn't have that kind of power, and so they couldn't be passed on through inheritance. The vicious cycle that was taking place in feudal Europe could have only been stopped by a revival of mind and soul through education, a revival that was called the Renaissance. Of course, the Renaissance was only one big part of the overall decline of feudalism. Events such as the Crusades, the revival of trade, and the Peasants' Revolt were all things that took away from the idea of feudalism. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and remember, if you need any help with video or audio software, I'm your guy. Go ahead and shoot me an email and I'll get right on that.